wonderful week of sculpture. I want to introduce you to Rocky. Rocky, show us your contact. There's Rocky Calderon.
Hi guys.
Rocky's one of our industry professionals and has already been working for years and brought a lot of her knowledge and beautiful style. Right? So what I would love to do, I want to attract your attention to, first of all, let's start here. These are your references. Bring us in and tell us what your first thoughts were.
So first thought on the entire sculpt was I've been really obsessed with Rorschachs, and I wanted to see...
That's a Rorschach, yeah.
I wanted to see a Rorschach come to life.
Beautiful.
And I've also loved, just the texture of bone, and I've had these really amazing references from the Natural History Museum in Paris.
Yes.
Since 2017, and it's been really cool to be able to bring pictures I took years ago into a sculpt and bring it to life. Probably the only other reference I have besides my own general nightmares is some kabuki references.
Right.
Traditional Japanese opera, shapes and character, and that's kind of what gives him his grimace.
Wonderful. And I want to mention really quickly, if you don't know what the Rorschach is, a Rorschach test is a psychological evaluation, if I'm right. It's where you have the ink and you put it in a piece of paper, fold it up, and you ask people what they see in that. That's the Rorschach, if you haven't heard of that. And she's done that same thing here. You can see, you can imagine if this was ink at one point smashed together, it created these shapes. Now, this is a being. This is a full creature, which I love. And I love that it comes from Rorschach. I have never heard of that before. In other words, your originality was fantastic.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to turn this. And tell me, was there anything that was, any tools or anything that was interesting in the class? Did you meet any new tools that helped you to facilitate this?
It's funny, I've had so many sculpting tools for years, and I think, thanks to being in this class, I've actually learned to use the tools in a proper way. So using the D9 in its correct form was fantastic. Using rubber tools in its correct form was fantastic. So I was just excited to actually see how these tools were properly used instead of just like clawing at clay like I've been doing for years.
Great. I love it. You certainly did wonderfully.
Yeah.
And I noticed early on you went and grabbed that.
Yeah.
This is known as a sweetening tool. This is one of the great sweetening tools in our industry. And after you've done something like this, am I right to say that you did a lot of this cracking with this tool?
Definitely.
That's just fantastic for doing that kind of effect because you have such a sharp point here. You don't get a ravine down in the valley, if you will, because of its sharpness. And then the hook, well, it just works perfect.
Yeah. It's great for teeth.
Yes, it certainly is. Well, I'm just going to turn it here. You're going to continue on. You're going to take the sculpture home. Our sculptures in the class are never really finished in the class. You're going to take it home and finish it. We can't wait to see you post the final results.
I'm excited.
I hope that she molds it and does a couple of different paint jobs, but I want everybody to go ahead and follow this wonderful artist. And we're going to follow you, and we can't wait to see what you sculpt next.
Thanks so much.
By the way, I love the void of the eyes too. I didn't get a chance to mention that. But these angles and the strength of this, that feels like a hammer to me.
Yeah.
I love it. And you can feel the history also from the cracking, as if this character has existed for a great while. Mm-hmm. Pretty wonderful. Oh. Well, once again, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is on the table, and that's the wonderful thing about sculpture. You bring a character like this, you realize it, and then you leave the drawing eventually. Yeah. And the three-dimensional object has more opportunities on that topography to explore different things. Needless to say.
Thank you so much.
I enjoyed working
It's
with
been
you.
a pleasure. I love bringing from paper to clay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you did a great job. And
Thank you.
We had so much fun. Thank you, everybody. Please stay tuned. We're going to come back in just a bit with another artist spotlight. And once again,